Hey guys, I'm FatBuddyCat, and this is the Gx160 Race Day Mini Bike. Alright, today we're going to be assembling the bottom end. The first thing I'm going to be doing is sealing up my low oil sensor hole. I threaded that 7/16 20. I went ahead and just got a short bolt and a lock washer at the hardware store. I'll add a little red Loctite, set that in. Alright, I'm all sealed up. I'll just wipe off the residual, let it do its thing. The next thing we're going to be after is that little hole down there, okay? Our push rods go through the holes on either side. Alright, that's where our lifters sit. Alright, you can see that little hole right there too. See how small it is? Well, what that hole is a drain, okay, for your oil that passes through your head, through your valves. In order to even out the pressure that we're going to be creating, we're going to double the size of that hole. It only took me 2 drill bits to get there, but I now have a 1/4 inch hole. Whenever you're doing anything like this, be very, very thorough with your cleaning. Okay, now I put my crankcase cover on and just finger tightened a couple bolts just so it stays in place. We're going to be marking out for an MPT fitting. It's going to go right about there. I'll just make a mark somewhere over here, and I'm probably going to use a small drill bit and work my way up. I'm just going to mark and start my pilot hole and then get this away from the motor. That way we're not putting shavings down inside that we don't have to. I just used up to a 3/8 drill bit, and then to get those threads I used a 1/8 28th pipe thread. So we'll see how this goes. You could use Teflon and put these in. I don't know. I got threads all the way around. I'm going to set it in and see how it looks. I actually lucked out with this, and I got some really, really good threads. But you see how I have those ones exposed in the back and a little bit in the front? Because it's not a perfectly flat surface, in order to clear the nut section of it, so I'm going to put a little JB weld around it anyway, and we're just going to go ahead and call this a vented side cover. If I choose to change this, I'm just going to buy a better one. So it is what it is. Get this thing all cleaned up. Make sure there's nothing in the bearing. I'm not going to JB weld the cover until we get it on the motor. That's all going to be on the outside. On the inside, I just vacuumed it out again real quick. Made sure clean out my cover as well. And I'm going to take some synthetic oil and drop it on all my moving parts. To do that, I just use a funnel and pass the oil over my bearings and such. we're going to be using the NR Racing Champion rockers from our friends at OMB Warehouse. These come with brand new lifters. I'm just going to lube those up in my synthetic oil and then insert them. I like to make sure my dowel pins are set before I put the cam in there. That way I know they didn't fall down inside. My friend Grey Goat, he also sent me a CM265 cam. I thoroughly cleaned the cam, installed it with the timing dots lined up, and then dumped synthetic oil all over it. Make sure you get some on the lobes and the outside of your lifters too. Now I take a brand new gasket and set it on there. My dowels are going to hold it in place. After you get finished cleaning your crankcase cover, be sure to oil the bearing before you install it. Crankcase cover goes on. I'm just going to lubricate my crankcase bolts before I put them in. Then I just torque out to 18 foot-pounds. Alright, now I can spin this thing around. Because next, we're going to be after that flywheel key. I'm going to use a screwdriver and a hammer. And I'm just going to bump that thing out lightly. This cam calls for 32 degrees. Be on top dead center. The PVL flywheel is 28 out of the box. So we're going to have to add 4 degrees. But that's okay, because you know who hooked it up. I got my key in. This flywheel has already been lapped. I'm going to install that next. I have my OMB crank holder tool on this side. And over on the business end, 54 foot-pounds will be sufficient. I wasn't happy with my side-to-side crank play. And I went ahead and ordered new shims so that I could correct that. Well, here's the thing. I already had some. This is the second time on this motor. This morning, I ordered some new stainless steel pushrods. I already had those too. I went this far. I might as well be thorough. I put a new gasket on. There's one shim already on there. And here is the second one. See if that made a difference. Back on the other side, we're going to check that coil gap to PVL. So it's one business card. Make sure my coil wire is attached down here. Okay, that's for your kill switch. And just make sure it's hanging out up here somewhere. Because next, I'm going to put the fan shroud on. Alright, got the fan shroud on. And this guard is connected down here, but it's just flapping in the breeze until we get the head on. Next, I'm going to spin it around. And I'm going to mix up some JB Weld. Patch this in. Wham bam blah jam. It's not beautiful, but once it hardens up, we can give it the smooth out with some sandpapes. We'll go ahead and place our fresh bottom end aside. Tomorrow, we're going to start working on the head. Because as always, it's a work in progress. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.